What's going on, guys? What is going on? Today, tomorrow, weeks past. There's been a lot on my mind. Of course, you got football starting, so that's what's been going on a lot. Uh, you know, tennis is winding down for the season. Their last major, the U.S. Open. So the sports addict and that is chaos. It's going a little random and has a lot of different things going on. So bear with me here. Right now, this is my TNA tirade, if you will. And no offense to anybody that I have apparently stole that from, because I know I read it off of a website somewhere. TNA going into the biggest pay-per-view of the year, Bound for Glory. Bound for Glory is their WrestleMania. We all know this. TNA has decided to call several audibles in the last couple of months. And I don't know, what they are, really what they're thinking. I can't imagine what must be going through the minds of those in charge at TNA, because a lot of things they do don't make sense, and if they don't make sense to me, how can I make them make sense to you? They're playing hot potato with the world title. They're playing hot potato with the knockouts title, it seems. Anyway, more on that later. I've written down the list of things that I want to talk about. Who knows how long this video is going to be? Who knows if you're going to want to stomach it up for as long as it is? But I figure I need to talk a little bit about it. I need to do something. I got to do something to get back into the swing of things. I am behind, and I got to make videos, and I got to talk, because it's killing me not to. Anything else that's going on in my life is not more important than getting on here and just talking. Whether anybody watches it or not, I could care less at this point. The smart ones do. Anybody else, I could care less. So I'm just going to go ahead and start it. Sting, Hogan, Flair. Sting, Hogan, Flair. It's all about Sting, Hogan, and Flair. Putting more focus on this than they are the world title. We all know Sting is going to beat Flair this Thursday on Impact. I guess it's this Thursday. Something. I think they said it was the 15th or whenever. Anyway, I believe it's this week. They're having their match. If Sting wins, well, if he loses, he has to retire. If he wins, he faces Hogan at Bound for Glory. We already know the outcome of that. Sting's going to win, and then he's going to go, and they're going to have some kind of match at Bound for Glory. And this is my plea to you, because this is my plea to TNA. We all know that it's happening. We all know that it's coming. We all know, and at least I am. I'm to the point where I'm tired of defending against it, because you're so dead set on this is what we need to do, that we need to put a lot of focus and a lot of time on this match that even 10 years ago wouldn't have been as big as it was in 1996 or 1997. And even then, if they could have done the match in like 1993, that would have been enormous. But anyway, and I digress completely. What we have here is Hogan and Sting and Flair still making it about them. Yes, even Sting. That's the way I feel. Prove me wrong. How do you prove me wrong? When you do the match at Bound for Glory, you don't make it main event for one. And you don't have the actual match, and I'm talking match from bell to bell, you don't have it go longer than 5 minutes. Because, let's face it, we know that Sting is a little... Well, let's just say sometimes Sting needs a little help to get through matches. He's not, he's not the ring general, if you will, that he was years ago. That's fine. That happens. Okay? That happens. Neither is Flair. But Hogan has had how many back surgeries, how many knee surgeries, hip surgeries. I understand your passion and wanting to get in, but it's just for the business. For TNA's future, you don't need to focus. This match doesn't need to be... Yeah, this match needs to be like semi-main or semi-main. But it doesn't need to be main event. I'm okay with it being right under the world title. I'm okay with it. If you just have to go through... If you just have to do it. If you just have to have this match on this pay-per-view... where you're going to take 2 or 3 or 4 guys off and put this on instead. If you just have to do it, don't make it more than 5 minutes. Because it's going to be shit if it goes longer than that. And that's all I'm going to bitch about on that. That's all I'm going to do. The Knockouts division, I called it months ago. I said, look, this is the perfect opportunity. You're doing this storyline, and of course this was like a month and a half, 2 months ago. You're doing the storyline with Velvet. Like you're trying to build her up as an actual singles wrestler. You're having her wrestle every week. She's having to go through all these people. ODB and Jackie come out. Another roadblock, you have to go through them. Before that, she was doing the whole thing between her and Winter over Angelina. I'm telling you, the smart money would have been to have, and it can still happen. You guys can still do this. You have Winter go over Mickie James again, just playing hot potato with the fucking title, and you have Velvet win a Knockouts gauntlet on Impact. Or, hell, do it on the pay-per-view. Number 1 contender, Velvet Sky against Winter for the title. And bring back more of the old... that old tension that you had between Velvet and Winter because of Angelina, and now you have Angelina kind of debating on whether or not this is right or not, and then Angelina screws Winter and helps Velvet win the title. See, this is how this should have played out, okay? And now if you do it, it's not going to be as great as once could have been. You had to have all the elements in, and you didn't have all the elements because you deviated from what you should have done. Now, as far as Karen Jarrett being the VP of Knockouts, whatever, I think it's a brilliant move, honestly, because Karen Jarrett triggers what I like to call the Steph heat. Stephanie McMahon has... It's like everybody hates Stephanie, but everybody loves to hate her. And that's just the way it is. And I kind of feel like the same way with Karen Jarrett, because everybody loves to hate her. She has no business being in there. Just because she was married to Kurt and now married real life, not just storyline, to Jarrett, Jeff Jarrett. And I mean, she really has no business being there. And people notice that. And people hate that. It's just like with Steph. She was the boss's daughter. She had no real business being on TV, but because she was the boss's daughter, she could be on TV. And they put her in storylines. And they made it work. And they made it work really good. And that's what they're doing with Karen Jarrett. And I guarantee you, Jeff is behind all this. Jeff, regardless of what anybody says, Jeff Jarrett is a very, very smart man, and he knows what he's doing. And by him having Karen, and this is going to probably be, they're still going to be together a lot on TV, but this is going to be kind of her separating from Jeff a little bit and mixing it up and doing something, down the road major with the Knockouts and the Knockouts division. Having them do whatever. I feel like it's going to lead, or what it should eventually lead to, is a match between Tracy Brooks and, let's say, hell, anybody, any heel knockout that's on the roster. We'll say Sarita, just for sake of current storylines and how they're together. You have Tracy go over Sarita. The stipulation going into the match that if Tracy beats Sarita, she gets 5 minutes with Karen. Bingo bang, or 3 minutes with Karen. Bingo bango boingo. Tracy goes over and then she kind of whoops up on Karen for like a minute and a half. And she pins her 1, 2, 3, and a couple of shots. Let her take a couple of shots for the business and be done with it. I still want to see Winter and Velvet at Bound for Glory. And if that match doesn't happen, I'm not buying the pay-per-view. I'm not buying the pay-per-view. I'll keep my $35, $40, how much ever it is, how much ever TNA tries to charge people for it. I'll keep that money. I'll go put it on, Survivor Series. Because I'm going to get Survivor Series anyway. The tag title situation, I understand they had to take it off of Beer Money. But what other real tag teams do they have besides Mexican America? Where's Inc. at? That should have been the team. Although I feel like Mexican America is going to retain the pay-per-view this Sunday and face the Brits at Bound for Glory. And maybe the Brits, win the tag titles. I would like to see it. Joe Morgan is a great feud. I love it. I expect Matt Morgan to go over huge at Bound for Glory in a rematch that they're going to have. Jeff Hardy, I'm going to make a whole entire video. It's going to be like Chaos Shoots Jeff Hardy Part 2. Except for, I'm not really going to shoot on Jeff Hardy. I'm just going to call it Chaos Shoots on Jeff Hardy. But it's really going to be a shoot on TNA for that fucked up promo. And then it's going to be a shoot on the North Carolina legal system for allowing him 3 felony possessions. He pleads guilty to him, and he still gets to be a free man. I hate it when anybody does that. It's stupid. He should have went to jail. Jeff Hardy should have went to jail. And if you don't agree with that, tough titty said to kitty. I mean, you just got to get over it. He committed the crime. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Probation is one thing, okay? If he was, had an anklet and he was stuck at home, that's one thing, but he's not. So, I mean, he's on probation, but he just has to go to a probation officer, probably once a month and, take a urine test. That's stupid. But I'll get on that later. As for now, Chaos is out. Party people, be on the lookout.